join me. All right, family. I'm really looking for some group participation on this one. So if you want to weigh in on the topic, I would really love for you to do that. We have a couple of more days before we come upon this fictitious European holiday called Father's Day. Now, I don't celebrate none of these trumped up holidays. I don't celebrate these trumped up holidays. I don't take them seriously. It's all BS. However, I know a lot of the family does. So with that said, let's talk about it. Black fathers. I see a lot of issues and challenges surrounding so-called black fathers. I should have put melanated, but whatever. But there are serious issues in terms of racism. Now, as always, I like to break things down. There are levels to what we are dealing with. You have prejudice, you have racist, you have institutional racism. Now, racist, all right, I'm not going to really speak on that. It doesn't have anything to do with the conversation. But in terms of institutional racism, we're going to see where there's a lot of roadblocks set up stopping our men from being fathers. And I know that my brothers out there have a story of their own. When we're dealing with our mothers, if a mother needs help, she can get food stamps. Family, I'm going to keep it at 5,000 with you. At one point in my life, about 10 years, 15 years ago, it was a very long time ago, but nonetheless, I applied for food stamps. And I was approved for food stamps. And then when they told me how much I was approved for, I was appalled. I went back to my daddy. I said, Daddy, I was approved for food stamps. Guess how much? He said $10. I said, how did you know? He said, because I was approved for food stamps for $10. However, my sister was approved for food stamps and she got $600. So now we're going to see where if a father wants to do right by his family, they're going to throw him crumbs, no pun intended. But when a mother wants to do right by her family, they're going to give her more than what she needs. Another one, HUD, urban housing development, whatever. We're going to see where, my grandma told me, she said back when she was in this public housing, they would come in, I don't know how often, once a month, once a quarter, I don't know. But they would come in every so often and check the house to make sure a man was not living with her. Now, if you go and ask the leadership of HUD, are you purposely trying to break up black families and keep black families apart? They're going to say no. Of course they're going to say no. However, their policy tells a completely different story. When we're dealing with policy, there are a lot of government institutionalized racist policies that are going to stop our brothers from fulfilling their purpose in their children's life as being a father. There was another instance, not an instance, but another example. If a woman says to the court that the father isn't taking care of the child, they will automatically side with the mother. Not automatically, but in most cases, they'll side with the mother and put the father on child support. I knew a brother who was doing right by his child, taking care of the child and everything, but he got a new girlfriend. And the kid's mother was very unhappy with his choice, as if she had something to do with it. And within her disgust, she did her cliche Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and she uses white supremacy to drag her kid's father through the dirt. And just as she planned, it worked. Now, a lot of people have their different opinions on what black power is. Now, when we see a racist government unite with black women, that's not black power. When we see a racist government unite with black children, that's not black power. To have black power is gonna have to be a combination of the Holy Trinity: man, woman, and child. You cannot say black power and be against the black man. You cannot say black power and be against the black woman. You cannot say black power and be against the black child. Just because a white person has adopted a black baby does not equate that to be black power. Just because a white man has had sex and had a baby with a black woman, that does not equate to black power. Black power is a combination, a trifecta, if you will, where we have to have three elements coming together to create one sweet spot, if you will, called black power. So now any combination where you exclude any of these parts, if you got the black woman and the black man and they don't want to have no children, that's not black power. If you have a black father and his black child, that's not black power. If you have a strong, single, independent mother that doesn't, want a man in her household, sorry, sis, that's not black power. Black power is a trifecta. It's the Holy Trinity. Love and marriage, and and at the end, you can't have one without the other. It's a combination where you can't drive a car on two wheels. You got to have at least three wheels to get this thing moving, But for the most part, a car is gonna need four wheels for it to operate as the originator intended for it to be. So now we're going to see where there is a push to tear down the black family. They're going to show favoritism to the black woman, and they're going to give her a bunch of resources to allow her to push the man out. Our men have a lot of issues surrounding them, and whether it be a man who comes on, whether it be a woman that comes on, whether you agree with me or not, I still invite you to come on with me and talk. And I want to put this out there, family. If you disagree with me and you come up here, I'm not going to blast you, family. So please be encouraged to disagree with me if that's what your heart feels. I will respect your viewpoint. I'm not going to co-sign it, but I'll let you have your piece. My brother Ponder just got on. Please go subscribe to Chef J Ponder. Ponder, brother, if you want to speak on black fatherhood, good, bad, indifferent. Queen Ashanti is a consistent contributor as well. Sis, if you want to speak on black fatherhood, whether your position be good, bad, or indifferent, I invite you as well. But I'll speak to the topic is black fatherhood. Because we're coming up on so-called Father's Day. Another thing that I wanted to say, because usually when we come around this time of the year where we do the Father's Day thing, I start to see a lot of cliche comments. They'll say, Happy Father's Day to all the mothers who are the fathers. I think for, the whole notion, think like a woman. Okay, absolutely. She said plug her in. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. Y'all playing with me. Y'all playing. She said plug her in. I'm plugging her. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, I was about. Black fathers, we have a lot against us. As a black father, I feel the pain, but I want to hear from someone else. Peace and love, sis.
Ho, ho, ho.
And I want to mention, wrong button. I'm so glad to have sisters chime in. All too often, we're going to hear a one-sided narrative where there's not a balance of both energies. And I always appreciate when the sisters come in to add value to that. Sis, you was at work? Let me find out.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh, take your time, take your time. Well, while she's getting herself together, I I always see every Father's Day where the women will try to take the place of the father. One thing I want to say in terms of that is we all play our own position. What makes a woman special is only what a woman can bring to the table. A man cannot try to matter of fact, somebody said often imitated, never duplicated. Often imitated, never duplicated. A woman's going to bring something unique to the table that a man can't bring, and vice versa. That's one of the main reasons why I've always taken issue with women trying to play the role of a father. She may have to do what she has to do, no debate on that, but we know that each facet of the trifecta is going to bring its own portion to it that no other part can bring to it. But of course, I've said enough. I want a sister weigh in. Sis, how do you feel about this? Tell me what you think.
Greetings, King. Greetings to everyone. You know what? The real deal is that it's a lie in reference to Black fathers, because Black fathers are taking care of their children. They're doing what they should be doing. Okay? So you can't go by what's going on in the media. There's too many of us, and I want to speak on behalf of Black men who are handling their business, taking care of theirs, and other men who are irresponsible, their children as well. Me personally, I come from a 2-parent household where I had a father figure and uncles and brothers around who handle. However, we need to come away from that myth and misconception that Black fathers are not doing what they're supposed to do. No, Black fathers are handling their business, and we need to support them and give them what they need, the tools to be great fathers.
Sis, let me just add value right there real quick. You said so much within so few words, you kind of threw me off guard. I forgot, and that's why I appreciate you being on the line. We have, okay, there's a saying called, until the lion has his own historian, the glory of the hunt will always go to the hunter. Our men, our people overall, we don't have a media. Well, we're starting to get those things out there, but for a long time we didn't have a media to for our voice to be heard through. So we were left with these people to tell our story, and when they told our story, they told it from a perverted, bias. I don't want to be that person, but maybe even a racist point of view. And I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of times even I'm a victim to where I'll go with what the media says versus what the reality is.
Exactly. Just look in your circle. I know everybody doesn't have a circle like mine. Everybody's circle is different. However, I just know so many men, and I can only speak on Black men, okay? Because that's my circle. I'm not talking about my colleagues. So with that being said, I just know so many Black men who are handling their business when it comes to our children. They're doing a great job. Commend you. Commend all Black fathers who are out here doing what they're supposed to do in reference to raising young ladies, raising young men.
And, I can't agree with that more. And if I could chime in on that one, I grew up with my father in my life, not to get too personal or whatever like that, but my name is William. My government name is William. I'm William the Fifth. My daddy's daddy, and this was a long line of men passing that name down. And my son's name is William. And, I was in his life, like my daddy was in his life, and that name goes back to great, and it just attests to those men. As far as my bloodline, they were all there. I know all their names, which was just William, but
And actually, I didn't really understand what not having a father was until I was sitting in psychology class in undergrad, and we're talking years ago. However, and then I was like, wow, now I get what some of my friends was going through because they didn't have fathers in their life, So I was like, wow, it took me almost, 20 years or this is why
sis,
she had such low
you breaking up.
self-esteem, except
God dang it. I knew it. Okay. I'm going to stay calm. I'm not going to get upset. I am upset. Instagram, I tell you, you guys really be pissing me off with how you be treating me and my family. Because when we come up here with the information coming together, I'm sorry, sis. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No. So what I was saying was that you just don't know what young girls are going through. Just like I posted on my page, the young girls were strippers and they were praying or whatever, some foolishness. And I usually don't post stuff like that, but it just shows you how religion has really tormented and really, fucked up the mindset of our people.
Absolutely.
You're praying in the name of Jesus and all of this foolishness. And at a strip club, really? That post-traumatic slave syndrome is real. For folks who are listening, Dr. Joy DeGruy, that post-traumatic slave syndrome, that book, everybody needs to read that. I actually was telling some of my family members, if you're going to try to do business with me, you need to read that book first, because I need to know that we're on the same page. Family or not, bloodline doesn't matter, but we need to be on the same wavelength. Okay. And it's just sickening. And when I see sisters doing stuff out of order, trust me, I'm going to check them. Do they listen all the time? Not absolutely. However, it's our place as elders to check them. Because I don't want to hear, oh, I was raped, oh, I was molested, I was this, that, and the third. No excuse. Because you can do better. You can do better. So let's stop using it as an excuse. That's Dr. Joy DeGruy. Oh, let me put let me put that in.
Thank you. You were reading my mind. And while she's doing that, I wanted to add value as well. I think we as a people have failed to understand. Could you type in PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder?
I'm putting that in there.
Okay, sorry. When we dealing with our people, in terms of fatherhood, this.
She actually calls it post-traumatic slave syndrome.
I'm sorry, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Thank you. Keep me honest. I see where the system has attempted to pit us against each other. And, in terms of military science, the art of war, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Divide and conquer has worked very well, so there's no really need to do anything different. And I can see where those divide and conquer strategies have worked against us, because what they are trying to do is pit you against me, pit me against you. They have things like the feminist organization to absorb you, to have you come attack me, versus you and me together was the real powerhouse.
Yes, and what folks really need to understand that is that this whole thing that the black man, the black woman has been dealing with through the past 400 something odd years is because of genocide, what they're trying to do to melanated people. So when you're out here acting out and you're supporting all of this foolishness with these fake reality TV shows and these rappers who are degrading folks, because some folks, oh well, Queen, how do you feel about the rappers degrade? Well, they're no better than the hood rat on the corner. At the end of the day, everybody, if you're doing that, then you are part of the problem. Okay,
That's right.
The whole LGBTQ, agenda, all of that is a part. Because if you cannot procreate, then guess what? Their goal is for us not to procreate. So guess what? Put two men together. Put two women together. They're saying by 2030 there will be no white race, right?
That's what they say.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
And all of those seem to be significant factors, because when we're dealing with fatherhood, the bigger picture that fatherhood falls under is family. Fatherhood, I can't say it's an individual thing. Fatherhood goes hand in hand with motherhood, which goes hand in hand with childhood, which all fall under the umbrella of family. And this is just one aspect of family that they have tried to attack. I just did a video, and I posted just like a little funny thing. I know a lot of my stuff is deep and it's maybe just part.
Exactly. And folks need to understand that the LGBT community, the queer community, their agenda is not our agenda. You can't tell me that your agenda is like the black man's agenda. No. Okay? Your struggle is not like my struggle. Because a gay white man can go out there and get a job and nobody's going to question his sexuality.
Oh, that's right. They were fighting for civil rights, and they said, we're synonymous with the black struggle because they were fighting for civil rights. Well, before we could get civil rights, we were fighting for human rights. The LGBT community has never gone through the struggle where they have been disassociated with even being human. Before you can have civil rights, you must acknowledge me as a human first. Nobody ever did that to them. Our plight is much more deeper, much more nefarious, if I could even use that word. No one on earth has had to deal with what we have had to deal with as a people. And I think that has been the great separator between their trials and tribulations and ours. I'm not saying there aren't any other groups who have had different struggles. Everybody has had their struggle, but no one has had the struggle that we have had. And, it's not a competition, but that is the reality.
Exactly. So, but at the end of the day, I just want to encourage black men to continue to be, hold on. To continue to be, the leaders in our community, continue to support the black woman, support your children. I again, like I said, I don't know any deadbeat dads. I don't, to be honest with you. I really don't. I just see men who are doing the right thing by their children. But again, if you read, look at, TV, you don't see that.
And in terms of the recent, because I know our history goes back millions and millions of years. So I don't want to get the family confused to make you think I'm focusing on one aspect. But in terms of our recent history here in this land, under the de facto government called the United States, the biggest deadbeat dads have been the slave masters. They were getting our women pregnant left and right. Columbus was out here getting women pregnant left and right. When they were setting out on their expeditions and discovering new lands, manifest destiny, Western expansion, they was out there having babies left and right, and then disappearing into oblivion. Are you familiar with the story of Bob? I just told the story, but I can't help it. I got to tell it again. Are you familiar with the story of Bob Marley?
Of who?
Of Bob Marley and his father?
No. What's the story?
Bob Marley's father's a white guy. And when Bob Marley, Bob Marley's father was a deadbeat dad. He wasn't in his son's life.
Well, didn't we have a couple of kids by some white women?
That's right. That's right. That's right. The truth shall set us free. A lot of times we romanticize these histories and try to, gloss over the parts that aren't appealing to us. But it was a cycle that was perpetuated, and dare I say, through self-hate. But I won't go there just yet. But Bob Marley, after he became famous, he went to his father and he says, "Father, I am your son," to this white guy. And the white guy, Mr. Marley Sr., I guess, he said, "You're not my son."
Well, Crump, I gotta go because I am actually getting ready for a meeting, but I wanted to jump on. So anyway, are you going to be back on later?
Well,
because I'll have a little time.
They only allow me to go live once a day, but I'm inbox you and see what we can do together.
Okay. All right. You going to be on for a little while?
That's right.
All right. Okay. I'll be listening.
Love you.
All right.
If anybody else wants to come on, please do. My brother, folks, I would love to have you on, brother, but no pressure. If anybody else back on him and said, "You're not my son, I don't claim you, I don't recognize you, I don't deal with you," and Bob Marley went on to make that song called "I Am the Stone That the Builder Refused." The phenomenon of deadbeat dads originally started with the non-melanated people. And if there is a such thing as a melanated dad, if there is a group of men who should be associated with deadbeat dads, it should be these people, because throughout history, they were having kids left and right and abandoning them. Sis said the live is very choppy. I'm very upset to hear that. I have some family who wants to come on too. Let's see what they say. So we're talking about Black fathers. We're talking about fatherhood. We're talking about, we're coming up on Father's Day. Peace and love. What do you think? Peace and love. Are you there? Can you hear me? I want to apologize. There was a bad connection. It seemed like the connection got dropped. They want to try again. Let's see what we can do. Let's try this again. Let's try again. I think you have bad reception. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Peace. How are you? Hello? Can you hear me? Dang. Okay. My apologies. The reception isn't the greatest, but I want you to be encouraged. Even if you disagree with me, even if you have a different perception, I'm still willing to hear you out. Trying to open my window. Hold on. I'm feeling weak right now. Hold on. How can I open this window? Brother DeAndre, I need you to come on and weigh in on being a father. I know you have a particular story, and I'd love for you to take this opportunity to if you could, tell your story about being a father, or even if that's your personal story, what you believe in terms of, what being a father is, some of the setbacks we have had, what we should be doing, so on and so forth. Oh, the window was locked. That might make a difference. Who knows? Okay, so with that said, while I'm waiting for the rest of the family to come on, I'm going to continue on in terms of fatherhood. So for me, I am a father. And I'm a little bit OCD in terms of being a father. I just love being a father. My father raised me to be a father. And I'm going to tell you what he did. One day we were playing chess, my father and I. And my father said, I've taught you everything I could possibly teach you about how to play chess. And after my father taught me everything he could, he said, now that I've given you everything that I have given you as a man, I'm going to send you to another man. And he told me, he said, listen, I may be your only blood father, but throughout your life, you will have a plethora, if I could even use that word, a plethora of father figures. And there was another man in my life who helped me. Crumb, what about the dad that do what they can when society says it's not enough? Brother, come on and talk about it, Carbon Force. I'm with you 100%. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. If a mother says, hey, I'm trying to do what I can, society will support her. If a father says, I'm trying to do what I can, if he doesn't do what they feel is enough, he will be jailed. They will throw him in jail as if that's going to help the child. I'm with you 100%. My thing is, to the family, I want to have somebody else say it. Sometimes I feel like, oh man, here go Crumb again, talking that crap. I want to hear what somebody else has to say about it. Somebody else experience. Okay, my brother DeAndre said, give me a second, trying to assess my 2-year-old. Well, hey, you know what? Being a father is about. We got to take care of home. And as men, we have tried to do our best to take care of home. And what the system, from my perspective, has done is to put every roadblock in our way to make sure that we stumble within our efforts to do right by our families. From my position where I stand, a man naturally wants to be a father. If I can't provide for my child, do you realize I feel less than a man if I can't do right by my child? If I can't do right by my child, it makes me feel less than a man. It's something about making money, buying my baby. I'm not going to say making money. Money is fake. Fuck money. It's something about providing for my family that really gives me a high. I love to be able to provide for my family. Fathers to chime in. That's what I'm talking about. So in terms,
What's good, family?
peace, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just like trying to deal with the babies, get them ready for life. I think it's nap time for them right now. Yeah,
that's right.
My 2-year-old just came back from his grandma's house. He was picking some berries.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like he picked like a whole fruit full of a basket full of fruit.
Nice. Now,
yeah,
brother DeAndre, I know you.
Yeah.
You and me have somewhat of a personal relationship. I kind of know a little bit of your backstory, if you will, and you've had some issues where you wanted and attempted and have continuously tried to be a father, but you've had some serious opposition keeping you from your children. I mean, I'm not trying to get too personal in your business, but whatever you feel.
I'm definitely. You know me, my brother. Like I'm always open for just constructive criticism or even just like observation, like just open dialogue on a person's life. Because a lot of people, on the healing path, they claim to be healers, they claim to be on a shamanistic, spiritual, uplifting path, but yet they hide all of their past. You know what I mean? Like if you're a pastor, you don't really speak about your past like that in the church. But it's I think it's critical, and I think it's crucial for men and anyone else to kind of like speak on what you've gone through and how far you've come from it. And if you've gone through some trauma, speak openly about it. And I've always practiced speaking openly about all of my life experiences. Like I'm not just going to sit here and shame or feel guilty for experiencing something and hide the fact that I've gone through something. You feel what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Because we live in a society that it's almost normal to like kill your throat chakra, right? When you go through some bad stuff, right? They don't want you to be silent when it comes to those first three chakras, dealing with your third eye and your whole crown chakra. That's all. That's gone. That's gone. They want you operating from the lower three chakras at all times. You know what I mean?
That's
But
right.
I feel like, you know, I'm always open. When I say that to say, because I'm always open to sharing my story, because I feel like I always wish there was a man or a divine masculine, if you will, in society to speak about the traumas that they go through, as well as, you know, we hear women's stories, but men also need to have healing circles as well. You feel what I'm trying to say? So,
And if I could just chime in right there really quickly, you know, they try to make it seem, you know, in terms of men, you know, we should be ashamed of crying. We should be ashamed of healing circles. We should be ashamed to have emotions. You know, we need support just like the rest of them.
I feel that 100%, and it always boils down to the community. You know, we always build on that, and it's like, if you look in our community right now, I mean, I've always had this conversation with many people that come in my life. I'm just like, why aren't there like healing centers where people can meet up and kind of have like a community of like well-being? You know what I mean? And as being a father in society, especially being a melanated indigenous father in the society, they don't want that unity. And it's when you get down to the research, you look up things like COINTELPRO, you know, where they take out the radical indigenous black men in our community, the black men that are trying to bring each other, bring us to a threshold where we can all come together and eat. You feel what I'm trying to say? All secure the bag, and we can do group economics, if you will, and we can grow and actually, you know, form a community as we once always did. And it's like, I believe, honestly, this society is strictly ruled by a set rule of quotas and agendas that's being pushed. So we don't, I think it's important for us to have that dialogue, you know what I mean? And to
And
speak about our struggle.
I was telling a story, and I think you weren't on the live at that time, but no problem. I just want to reiterate it. You know, my father was teaching me how to play chess, and
Yeah.
He taught me as much as he could, and then he didn't pass me, but, you know, he brought me to another man who was a father figure at that time. And, you know, that for me was a coming together of, you know, not only a father, elders, father figures, masculine, a circle of masculine men that were feeding the souls of the other men. You know,
Yes.
my father raised me to be a father. Not only that, he raised me to be a father figure. You know, and I think that plays
And
a big
you
role.
take the role. My dad has also taught me that as well. He's instilled into me, like, there's different, like, I guess, hoods, like where you take on to fatherhood, and after fatherhood, you go into mentorship. You know what I mean? Where you're like, you're in that ethereal knowledge where you get to experience certain wisdoms and pass it on to the youth in your community. And he's always like shown me like there's certain ways and passages that we must take as men for our community and the women in it. And like I always use my like, for example, I understand that like we are being oppressed, but being a man, also just being a father, you take on a role that's like, since this is already a patriarchal system that's kind of upside down and backwards, we kind of have to change it back to a matriarchal system as being divine masculines, right? And we use our little, what we have as male privilege, you feel me? We use that to uplift our queens in our society, and that creates a healing space for our youth, you feel me? And we can correct the woman and the
I'm sorry.
child.
Not to cut your wisdom. I just want to say this. I've heard a lot of people say male privilege. A lot. You know, I'm almost 40.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say things about, I've never in my life heard a man say, use male privilege to uplift a woman. Brother, you done changed the course of my day.
That's serious. Like, I think that's what it needs to be. I think that's the dialogue that all men should be having. Because if you really think about it, like all the things that women are facing in this society, and if women are the ones that's teaching in turn the children, you feel me? They and technically raising the nation. You know what I mean? They spending more time with the children, instilling, you know how that one meme that goes like, be careful who you date, because that's going to be who raising your children, and that's going to be who programming your children. So if the men out here are picking, in a sense, weak females and keeping them, well, I'm not even gonna criticize a female. I'm gonna kind of keep it in a neutral position where people can kind of see where I'm coming at. And when it comes to this dialogue that we're having, I think it falls down on men being able to uplift and feed their women and provide an area where they're able to grow. You feel me? And if
Right.
they're able to grow, they're able to nourish their children. And in that way, in turn, we can build a nation that's healthy. But we don't have that. We have men fighting with other men. We have men competing with other men. And in turn, since we're already in our own power structures, we're programming the female to be the same exact. We already programmed the female to have a male masculine mind, a mindset when she deals with half the things. And this is what I dealt with in my past that I'm very open to talking about. And I honestly believe, and I have, all of these experiences with a female that I experienced where their mindset was completely, if you will, left brain ruled, right?
Yep.
If you will, if it was almost programmed by the colonizer. It was almost like, all right, I'm on welfare. I'm on all these government assisted programs that I can't have a strong masculine male in my home without receiving the benefits of the system. So, and that in turn creates like this systematic, if you will, hierarchy where you have indigenous Black women being taken advantage of and not realizing the agenda that's being pushed since the 1970s, where they're trying to dismantle the whole community by starting with the Black man. You know what I mean?
There's a government agenda that is a wolf in sheep's clothing that has come to our women that has led her to believe that they are for her, but the reality is these Trojan horses. These things that look seemingly good are actually out for her to set her destruction and her demise. So now, because again, I want to take your same position. I don't want to attack Black women in this feed or say anything negative against my sister.
Yeah.
I will say that there are people who are trying to get in her ear, who are trying to win her over, and they're trying to get her to believe that I am not here for her.
Yeah.
And
it's true. It's really true that, and it's almost like really it's kind of scary. I mean, because when you look at the masses and how they're being programmed, it really brings us to our calling. Like, when you know something, you have to speak up against it. You feel what I'm trying to say? And I feel like I exist in the sort of spirit where I spark, like you do as well. Your spirit, it sparks higher knowledge. It sparks a higher self into people. You set and you go out and you plant seeds into people's minds, and later on that will grow into the force that we all need to kind of pick the fruit from it and live. You feel me? And
not only do I feel you, I can add value to that. In terms of what you and I do. Matter of fact, let me put you on a pedestal. When I go to your Instagram page, I see your light shining. I see where you're not afraid to be you. You live your own truth, and you're so confident in it. And I find that to be beautiful. And you encourage me. I'm like, you know what? If my brother is not afraid, if my brother is not ashamed, if my brother is not scared, I don't have to be either.
Yeah.
If he can do it, I feel empowered that I can do it.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Absolutely.
Very much so. I employ anybody to, and I kind of feed my audience and whoever else support me, my family, my friends, my brothers, my sisters. I employ anybody to be their radical self, because we're dealing with a system that it's almost like the brink. Like, if you really get down to it, it's almost like reading the beginning of the Terminator before the AI get woken up. You feel what I'm trying to say? And since we're going towards this technology, right? This very convenient technology, but it's going to be the demise of humanity as we know it. And it was so crazy because it was like, I noticed how I uploaded a photo. I'm in my little birthday suit. I'm just being myself. But I noticed all the people that were almost astonished the fact that I'm posting something unedited and just unfiltered and just raw. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it kind of dawned on me. Like, we really are living in a society where that's being suppressed.
Brother,
is being suppressed.
Let me share my truth. I am ashamed of me. I'm embarrassed of me. I try my best to to not be concerned with what the world thinks. And if you ask me, I'm like, yo, Crumb Snatcher, he do what he doing. I'm not scared of nothing. And then I go on your page and I see how open and fearless you are. I'm like, damn, I need to step my game up.
That's all it is.
When I go to your, and iron sharpen iron, brother, I'm gonna tell you, you've inspired me. And you know, people be like, well, you know, one question I hear a lot of people say, what is freedom? If you never saw freedom, you don't even know what freedom is. Brother, I would have said the day before I went on your page, I knew what freedom was. And then I went on your page, I said, that brother's free. That brother's free.
You got to be. You got to be. I got to be. You know, and I implore anybody to have that freedom because, I mean, what really is living? You know what I mean? If we're going to be living by somebody else's standards and living by people's opinions and that old paradigm where, you know, people have to be looking a certain way, have to act a certain way, have to post things a certain way, you know? And I just feel like that is so played. I don't know what happened.
Absolutely.
Your image had froze, but I'm sure you could probably still hear me.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm having some technical difficulty. Am I still frozen? I'm trying to stay calm, but Instagram they're fighting me. Instagram goes against me. I don't know if I'm still froze, but they're giving me problems every time I try to put out the positive message. Same thing happened with Queen Ashanti. Let me try to bring my brother back on. Let me see, can I get him back on? Okay.
I believe that it's certain. I think it's certain things that triggers the. I'm not sure if it's like certain key words that we say where it begins to go under an analysis review or something with their whole, you know, synology. So I'm just like, you know, certain words I feel like is when things get shaky or as far as the connection go. Like they won't sit here and just play it out. So I'm just like kind of shook because the other time we went on live, like it immediately kicked us out. And when you try to go again, I couldn't even see your page. The whole thing was black. Like I'm just like.
Now, the topic is fatherhood, but I have to mention this really quickly. Yeah. Brother, did you know after you and me went live the last time, they would not allow me to go live again?
That's
my
weird,
live button wouldn't even work after I put you on.
That's wild, bro. I mean, I try to tell people we being blocked and we being, if you will, assessed by the government, if you will, and it's because the message is very potent. The message is not something that we normally find in society, so it's censored, and I understand that there's going to be a censorship. So I advise everybody. I mean, when Brother Crumb speak or anybody in the conscious community, that I'm telling you, the shadow ban is going to be real. The censorship is going to be real, and I'm just enjoying it while it lasts until we can actually get our own platform. You know what I mean? And I seen something the other day. Even there's this. We need our own platform. I'm not sure if David Banner. It was somebody that was working on starting their own platform for just quote unquote conscious Black folk or just indigenous people. You know, just to have our own place so we could express ourselves. I seen that other day. I gotta find it.
Absolutely. In terms of fatherhood, have you now? And this is an old movie, and I might be challenging you. My apologies in advance.
No, go for it.
Or heard of the movie Claudine?
I heard you speaking on the movie Claudine, whether you were speaking on, you know, the welfare system. I know it was it was like in the 90s. I remember you were speaking on it, and I had watched like a little clip of it. But I
put a clip on my.
You know what I mean?
I have put a clip.
You played.
Right. I did put a clip on my Instagram page. So for the family, if you're not familiar with Claudine or if you're not familiar with Crumb, you know. Also, brother, while I'm talking, can you put your IG handle in here? When you got kicked off, somebody was asking how they can find you. So if you can put that in there, please do so. Thank you. But anyway, while he's doing that, the movie Claudine, it's just basically at DeAndre_. Simple as that. the movie Claudine was the story, a movie, a big screen movie. What's that dude with the really deep voice? I forgot his name.
Whitaker, Forrest Whitaker.
No, he was Eddie Murphy's father in the movie Coming to America. If anybody remember who Eddie Murphy's father was in the movie Coming to America, that was the guy who was in the movie Claudine as her boyfriend. In the movie Claudine, she had 9 kids, and I don't remember if she had them all by different men or what have you.
I know who you're talking about, though.
Right. So he's trying to be James Earl Jones. Shout out to Martin Brock 78.
Yes, that's his name.
James Earl Jones.
I was gonna say Bill something, but that isn't his name.
I was clueless, so in the movie Claudine, featuring James Earl, co-starring James Earl Jones, he's trying to be a father to her 9, I think it's the 9, 6. She had more than 5 children, and he's trying to be a father to them. And he's trying to get married to her, but the opposition is the welfare department. Now, not judging her for going on welfare. She did what she felt she had to do. I get it, but she soon realized in the movie that these people had an agenda that she wasn't aware of initially. And again, we have that Trojan horse. We'll give you something, and initially it's going to look really good to you, but the after effects are going to prove that it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the initial benefit that came with it.
Yeah, it wasn't, and I remember that part. I think that was the part where she went in that the little office part, and she was just talking to the lady, and she realized how far the rabbit hole really got for her when she tried to get them benefits. And
Fraud. They kids kept saying fraud through the whole thing, trying to intimidate him. But he wouldn't be intimidated. He didn't let them scare him away. And not making excuses, not playing the blame game. I want to keep a positive energy. But one thing I noticed is, they try to scare us away, and unfortunately, some of us do get scared away. And I just wanted to kind of get you to chime in on that. I was going to have somebody else chime in. I think somebody else wanted to come on, but I know you have some more thoughts to share with us. Please do that, brother, before I let you go.
All right. Just from my experience, that whole movie is very insightful. It's giving you like a really raw experience. I feel like on the dynamics firsthand. I got experience dealing with dating a counterpart where you try to do the right thing by them. You try to live that almost edged out American dream with them, but it's not good enough due to the redlining, due to the economic structure and how it's set up and how things are formed. It's not good enough. Because
That's right.
They already got a program that exists out here for women to believe they need things to be almost like cookie cutter perfect. They need it's just this artificial lifestyle they're pushing on the women so they believe it. So when you get with a woman and you don't meet that quota, she's going to turn to the government, and the government has this thing where, okay, we can give you some money, we can give you some assistance, but a black man can't be in your household. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And it's just like this really sick system. And when you talk about things like, we go back to our leaders in our community, where you got Dr. Claude Anderson, where he speaks about all the time, he's like, they're trying to eradicate black from the dictionary and all of the Supreme Court. They don't want you to have a dialogue on your culture. They don't want unity, and they don't want people to realize that, you know what I'm trying to say? It's
Absolutely.
wild. It's wild. I can't even, my parents just got here from Miami, by the way. So it's pretty cool. They just arrived here at my apartment. But yeah, it's really real out here. It's really real out here. I feel like I could just go in almost on a whole tangent on how things are set up against the black man and black woman in society, and how they go at the black woman and eventually leaving the black child, nice he is, leaving the black child vulnerable.
I want to say thank you, brother. If you could tell the missus, the babies, and the mother and father think he fell off. I think he fell off. One thing that the brother was saying right before he left off, and if anybody else wants to come and join me, please be encouraged to do so. I would love to hear what your perspective is. If you're a woman, please feel free to come and join. If you disagree, please feel free to chime in. I'm open to whatever you think. But I wanted to say, in terms of setting up our men for success, at one point in time, we had a lot of programs, that were not based on welfare. At one point in time, at the high school level, there were a lot of programs where women could join and participate, but they were mostly, in terms of gender, based on men. We had a mechanic shop. Women could be mechanics, but generally speaking, there were plumbing classes, different things to where our men could, because my brother DeAndre was saying, there are challenges, not only from the welfare system, but the economic system. The way the economic structure of the country is set up. At one point in time, the economic structure of the country was not only set up to benefit women through these programs like welfare, but there was also a system set up to where a man could educate himself and get a type of employment that was career based. DeAndre, he said he couldn't find you. I don't know, family. It's DeAndre _. It's a pretty simple name, but the thing about DeAndre, family, is that he's public enemy number one. You're not necessarily going to find him very easily. That's why I rock with him. He's like that Robin Hood character. They looking for that dude. They trying to keep him off the radar so that the rest of the family, he will not motivate the next Robin Hood. So yeah. It's going to be pretty difficult to find that brother. My apologies in advance, but he's definitely on the gram. Definitely check for him. But in terms of the economic system that has been set up, it's been set up against fathers to be fathers. In terms of in the urban areas, they had these programs at the high school level where these boys could have a career. Dare I say, could even start their own business based off the education that they received in the school. Once the government saw that these people were, that these programs were empowering the Black community. Now, according to Dr. Umar, once the government found out that these programs were empowering the Black community, they took the programs out because a lot of people, men and women, families, a lot of families who were supporting and donating to Marcus Garvey's UNIA in terms of monetary contribution, they were independent business owners. If we even look back at the lynching era, most of the people who were lynched were Black business owners. So, this was not only hate crime, this was economic imprisonment, if I could even coin that term. I've never heard that before. I just made it up off the fly, but it sounds good. Economic imprisonment, to where we have no viable options economically. If you want to chime in and say something else in terms of fatherhood, some of our plights, what makes fatherhood beautiful, just whatever you believe in terms of fatherhood, I would love to hear from the family. But with that said, I could talk all day about fatherhood. I was with a woman who was led astray by the government. I don't want to, sound bitter. Well, I don't care how I sound. I don't want to attack her in any type of way. I don't give a fuck how it sounds. I'll use all types of profanity. I'll stutter, everything. So